Arquitecto Roberto Quevedo, le agradeceré que acompañe a la señora Barbara Oakley Gracias. Doctora Barbara Oakley, sea usted bienvenida al claustro de profesores de esta universidad. Ahora nos honraremos escuchando sus palabras.
I am so deeply honored and humbled to be here and to be given such a great honor, personal honor for me. So I've been invited to share a few words, and what I'd like to do is share about my favorite scientist of all time. And his name is Santiago Ramón y Cajal. Cajal was a terrible student. He was actually kicked out of 2 elementary schools because he had no interest in learning. He was really just a terrible student who struggled greatly to learn. But when he was almost 20, he decided to try to see if he could become a doctor. So he struggled really hard with his learning. Math was something he especially struggled with. But he finally became a doctor. And then he decided to try to become a professor of anatomy. Well, he tried and he studied, and it turned out there was one test you had to pass in order to become a professor of anatomy. So this test was given only once a year, and you had only 3 times to try to pass this test. So Santiago took the test on the first year and flunked it. So next year he went up again, took the test and flunked it. 3rd year, last year he could try. He took the test and he passed it. So he became a professor of anatomy. I mean, quite a big journey from a student who couldn't even really pass high school. But then his careful analysis of what was really going on in his neuroanatomy studies actually led him to receive the Nobel Prize. But that's not enough. This humble country doctor actually is now considered the father of modern neuroscience. Why is that? It's because he looked carefully at the facts and he changed himself in accordance with those facts. So he was once asked, how did you do this? I mean, you went from such a humble start to become this superstar. And he said, well, I was persistent. I kept going with what I was working on. And I think we can all learn from that lesson to be persistent, intelligently persistent. But the other thing he said was, I was flexible. When the data told me I was wrong in my hypothesis, I changed my hypothesis and then proceeded onwards. We have a good accompaniment here today. So Santiago said, I am no genius. And he was no genius. But he said, I have worked with many geniuses. And the problem with geniuses is they will jump to conclusions with their vast intelligence, but when they're wrong, they cannot flexibly go back and change their minds in accordance with the data. The conclusion is in your own life. Be true to the facts. not to theories. Don't be wedded to an ideology or a theory. Look at the facts. Be like Santiago Ramón y Cajal. And if you are no genius, you can sometimes do things that genius cannot. So I thank you so much for UFM and the wonderful teaching that keeps you true to the facts. And I think you will go forth and prosper. Thank you again.